Hey, what's up? I'm here with Rob from Sacrifice. Rob, how's it going?
Awesome.
First question. Did you think in 2011 that you would be in a corporate building talking about Sacrifice?
Yes, I didn't think I'd be in a corporate building at work, but you know, um, well, when I was like 23, no, I had no idea I'd be doing this still at this age. It's incredible. Especially we had something like I can't even remember now, 16 years off, and then we got back together. So it's pretty it's crazy.
Well, what's the status, I guess, of you guys these days? Do people live sort of in different areas of Canada still?
Yes, and the States. So we're, I don't know, semi-retired, I guess. Scott, our bass player, he lives in Vancouver. Um, Joe, our guitar player, lives in Detroit. So it's a bit of a challenge for us to get together if we're gonna play somewhere. But it works out in the end. So
Well, I mean, you guys did the reunion show in, I guess it would have been 2009,
six.
six,
Yeah.
and you just flipped the nine there. And that that was probably a big deal for a lot of people, obviously fans for the band, I guess, as well. And yeah, talk about that. Why did you guys decide to, after all those years, get back together and start playing music again?
Well, I think all of us kind of wanted to. Um, but we just didn't think it would ever happen. And local promoter here, Noel, he does big shows at the Opera House and stuff. He's a friend of mine. He talked to me once in a while about how can I get you guys to play, and for a while I was going, forget it, it'll never happen. I don't even want to think about what we have to do to get this to happen. But it got to the point where um, some of us in the band hadn't even spoken for over 10 years, and it got to the point where we were speaking and we started talking about it, and he made it very easy for us to get back together. He got us a place to rehearse, and you know every anything we wanted, he provided for us. He's great, and this would not have happened without him.
Like, considering where everybody lives, so how did that work? Did everybody sort of have to fly into Toronto, I guess, and stay here for a while?
Yes, what happens is Gus, our drummer, and myself, we both live here, so we keep the bass solid. And when we get the other two guys in, it was funny in 2006, the first time that the four of us got back in a room after I don't know how many years, like 16 years or something like that. We played one song and we thought, yeah, you know, it sounded all right. But once we got into about the third or fourth song, it was like we'd never stopped. It was just like we were, yeah, like we'd never stopped, and it was really incredible. And it's just a good feeling for all of us to get back together, and we're just basically old friends, and we don't get to see each other very often, so that's a big part of it too.
How much did that have to do with the ones that I condemn? Because was that sort of the spark that led to that record coming out in '09?
Yeah, I think when we first decided to get back together and play, we didn't have any ambitions to put out another record or anything. But the more we played, we thought, we still have something left, and there's something in us that felt like we hadn't uh, maybe made our best record yet, and we were really focused on this. For all the distractions in our lives that we have now, families, and I don't know if they're distractions, but our lives are a lot busier, and for us to be that focused and to be able to pull this off. And another part of it, as fans, we still listen to this music and everything. A lot of bands get back together and they disappoint you. We did not want to do that. We wanted to get back together, go full out, and just be relentless through the whole thing. And came out better than we'd hoped. So
Well, I mean, I was just telling you when we were getting coffee that it's probably my favorite in the catalog, partially due to just production value. I mean, it's a super well produced album. How different was it making music in the '80s as to recording music now in the 2000s or the aughts or whatever they call them?
the biggest challenge for us when we were recording back then was that you go into a studio and the engineer had no idea what you're supposed to sound like. Especially our first couple of albums, we go in, they feel like they wouldn't say it, but you could tell by the look at their face. There, what are you guys doing? They had no idea. We'd have to bring them in, some of our demos or some records we liked and play some of that stuff for them, so they get a kind of ballpark of what we want to sound like. And yeah, that was pretty rough. See, now you can go into a studio like the studio we recorded Condemn at. The engineer there went in. He knew who Sacrifice was. He knew who Slayer was, Meshuggah, everybody else. And but we also wanted to record old school. We didn't want to go in with triggered drums and edit the recording to death, and sound like everybody else. We wanted to go in and record to a hard drive, but as if we were recording to tape. And he was really into that. You never know what you're going to get when you go into a studio, but it came out better than our expectations when we went in, so we were really happy.
I have to ask about new music. What's the plans there? Are you guys? I mean, you sort of mentioned you're thinking about another full length.
We're thinking about it, but we don't put any pressure on ourselves for anything now.
If part of you guys want to just come back and like totally overthrow the metal world?
Not really. We're happy with our little corner we have in the underground metal world. We have lives, and we like spending time with our kids and our wives and stuff. And at our age, I don't know if going on the road is that appealing anymore. Going on the road is appealing if it's to do a couple of shows, but doing a full-blown, play 150, 200 shows a year, like I don't even know if I'm capable of doing that anymore. So yeah, we're happy with our little corner we have right now, and we'll stay there. We're happy there.
You mentioned the underground, and how much has that changed? Would you say? I mean, is it still there? Is it different? I guess it totally is different with the internet. But thoughts on that? I mean, being there when that scene started, and now what it is now. What do you think?
Well, yeah, the internet's the big thing. When you were into the underground metal, hardcore, punk, whatever back then, you were fully into it. I mean, you had to be. Any kind of music you'd get would be a 15th generation cassette that you got from some guy in Belgium, right? And it didn't sound the greatest, but you just wanted to. That's how you discovered new bands. Now you can just go, MySpace, check out this band, check out that band. So
that process was huge for you guys. Starting off,
like, what the
tapes and stuff, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That was the underground back then. You really had to be a fan of this stuff because you had to go through crazy crap just to get bands' music. Even records, like the first Metallica album, when it came out, you couldn't get it here. You had to go to the record peddler, buy an import of it, and pretty much everything for the first couple of years of thrash you had to pay import price for. No one would put it out here. So there's still an underground now, absolutely, but it's definitely not like it used to be.
On the Metallica tip, Metallica or Megadeth?
Metallica. Yeah. I like both bands, but
any crazy stories involving those two from your time in the thrash scene?
No crazy stories, but I remember Metallica was touring Master of Puppets, and our producer, Brian Taylor, that used to work at the record peddler, he called me up, and he used to do a radio show here called Arg Rock on CKLN. And he called me up. He said, "Hey, you want to come down and interview James Hetfield with me?" We're like, "Oh, yeah, for sure." I was probably like, 19 or something. And so we got to go down and, interview him. That was pretty cool. And, we played with Megadeth in like 86. So that was pretty cool too. And it's funny now, I email the drummer for Megadeth all the time, Sean. We're pretty good buddies, don't see each other around hardly ever, but
yeah, the Canadian bros.
Yeah, he's Canadian, so he lives in the States now. But and Glenn, his brother, he came up and played a song on stage with us last time we played in Toronto. So he's ex-Megadeth. But
what about Anvil? What are your thoughts on that whole insane. You know, the last year for them has been insane.
Yeah, I mean, Anvil were a huge influence on us. I mean, pretty much every metal band that was around back then will say the same thing. And you know, when I was a kid, you know, getting to meet Anvil, getting to go down the rehearsal room, that was a big deal for us. And you know, we've seen them go up and down, and you know, it's great what's happening for them now. I don't know if I'd want that myself, but you know, they do. Like they want that. They want to be huge, you know, huge band and you know tour the world and stuff. And they're able to do that now. It seems like they're probably getting a lot better guarantee than they were 5 years ago. So I'm really happy for those guys. They've been around forever. Yeah. They've never really changed their style much. They've always been really down to earth people, and I always remember they were great to us as a young band. You know, just kids you know, looking up to them, and they were always really cool with us. So yeah, I'm really happy for them.
Talk about like, you know, just that being nice and humble side of Sacrifice that you don't really see sometimes in the heavy metal world. You know, there's a lot of people with arms crossed and who's more badass, and you know, there's a wall between the audience and the band. I understand that, you know, a lot of hardcore bands probably had that effect. You know, just reading some of the stuff online about, you know, COC and DRI. Why did that stick with the band? Why was that ethic? You know, because I imagine then it was a little bit more, you know, punk was one way and metal was the other way, right?
Well, when we started out, there wasn't many bands for us to play with. You know, we were a young band. You can't really play with, you know, this glam band at the Gasworks. You know, it doesn't. We fit in better playing with the punk bands. You know, they're fast and you know didn't look like they just got out of the salon and you know whatever else. So those bands, playing with those bands, especially the out of town bands, would come in. You know, we'd played with some bigger metal bands, and we'd say, you know, we wouldn't really talk about it. There's no reason to behave like that. You know, you're just a band. Yeah. You know, there's no reason to, you know, not talk to people and hide. And you know, Sacrifice has always gone on stage, and we look like anybody else that's in the building. You know, we didn't really go on with, you know, any big, huge stage show or anything. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That just wasn't us. But that came from us playing with a bunch of punk bands when we first started out. You know, everybody was down to earth. You know, close scene. You know, not a big, huge. You know, shows were like 200 people. You know, so you kind of got to know everybody, and I think that's where we took that from, and we've just never changed. What's the point? You know, we've never really aspired to be, you know, like Van Halen or anything. We've just wanted to make music, and you know, we like hanging out with people.
It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to feel like you're above anybody because you play in a band. So,
on the punk note, Propagandhi, this whole interview sort of happened because we had played your cover of Anthem on the radio, which is awesome, by the way. Talk about, you know, the split with Propagandhi and the connection between your band and theirs.
Those guys, they saw us play in Winnipeg. I think it was probably the first show that Todd and Chris probably went to, and I think Todd even said his mom brought him down that way. But I mean, it was a big thing for them. You know, that was one of their big concert memories. You know, when you're younger, your first couple of shows you see, you never forget them. So they've been like that, and they've always followed Sacrifice and over the years, and you know, God bless those guys. You know, they
they wrote a song about you guys.
Yeah, that was incredible. They're recording the new album. Didn't say a word to us about it. You know, they just all of a sudden I get up one day, there's a CD in the mail. Oh, a new Propagandhi. So I throw it on, I'm listening to it, and I'm looking through the book and I read ahead, and there's some lines from our lyrics in there. I'm going, what's this? So I'm on about song 3 at that point, so I skip ahead, and it's a song about them coming down to see our reunion show in 2006, and that was just, incredible for us that they would even consider doing that. And yeah, we say that's better than us winning a Juno or a Grammy or anything. That really meant a lot to us in the band, and we've stayed pretty close to that. I always email Chris about the Leafs and stuff, and so yeah, the opportunity to do this with the single, the vinyl singles, absolutely, we'll do it for sure.
It's just an interesting, I guess, for some people, I thought it was maybe a bit of an unlikely split. But, a staple in Canadian metal and a staple in Canadian punk, even though Propagandhi's now almost a borderline metal band, you know what I mean? Or like prog band. But any plans? Will you guys do anything else in the future or tour? I know you guys played together in Winnipeg. I saw something online about that. That must have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really good.
How do Sacrifice fans react to Propagandhi, and how do Propagandhi fans react to Sacrifice?
I think both sides, once they see each other live or hear each other's music, I don't know if they're that open to it at first, but once they hear it, then everything's fine. So I know a lot of metal fans are like, oh, Propagandhi and punk and this and that. But once they actually hear Propagandhi or see them live, they're like, this is metal. These guys are intense. They're a really talented band, and how can you not like them?
Plus, Chris likes the Leafs.
That's a big plus.
Okay, this is the Maple Leaf part of the conversation. We have to play the Penguins tonight. It's pretty much the playoff hopes are dwindling. How long have you been a Leafs fan?
Well, since I was born, which is about maybe 3 weeks after they won their last cup. So, yeah, I'll never jump off the bandwagon. I don't care how bad they are. I've been there through the worst of times, so there's only an upside now.
Do you still play? Do you play hockey?
No, I'm afraid to now. But I used to play hockey. I miss playing. I don't even have equipment anymore. I think I have skates. I might have a stick in my garage.
Favorite all-time Maple Leaf? Who's your favorite player?
Have to give that to Wendell. Yeah, Wendell or Dougie.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was a great year.
Yeah.
All of Canada is getting very angry at us right now.
What are you talking about? Every arena Leafs playing, I hear go Leafs go, so
that's true.
People won't hate me that much. Don't hate me.
Actually, there's one other question I wanted to ask you. When you get, you guys put out the new record in 2009, and I wondered, obviously you have families and you've gotten older, but the music is just as angry and I guess passionate. Are you still pissed off about certain things? Are you, thematically Sacrifice, things that come to mind, at least for me, would be death, hell, and war. Are those just metal things to sing about, or are you just generally pissed off about some stuff?
Well, I think universally, I think the older people get, the more pissed off they are. So I don't walk around as a pissed off person, but yeah, there are things that piss me off, and I think the nature of the music, it screams for pissed off lyrics. It just as Lionel Richie isn't gonna sing about hell or goats or whatever. He's gonna sing about one of his exes from 30 years ago. So Sacrifice is going to sing about angry, aggressive topics, and that's the style of the music.
Are you plugged in? Do you read the paper, that sort of stuff?
Oh yeah, there are things like Libya right now that would piss anybody off. So that's just an example. But there's things like that, things in your personal life, things that happen. I mean, with the last album, with Condemned, there's a couple of close friends of ours that passed away, and that really had a big effect on all of us. And some of that got into the lyrics. I guess when you get to a certain age, you start to feel your mortality a little more, and especially with thrash now. Some of your contemporaries are, every once in a while you check in the internet, oh, wow, this guy passed away, and, this guy's gone. And you start to feel it a little bit more because, we all got together. This thrash was just beginning, and we were all kids, but you start to realize, well, we're not really kids anymore. And so there's all kinds of things that at play when it comes to writing lyrics, like aging.
Well, how about your vocal cords, man? Because you have you have a very recognizable voice. I mean, you hear it and you're like, that's Sacrifice right away. How are they holding up? Is it harder to scream now? Is it easier for you?
I don't do it as often now, so it's kind of hard. I don't know. The real test would be if I was to go out on the road for a month. But as far as going to the studio, I actually had an easier time this time than I had a couple of previous. There are times where, I'm a little tired now, guys. But I don't come off stage and my throat's sore or anything. I don't know if it's proper technique or whatever, but yeah, I'm okay with it. I don't know. It's kind of uncharted waters now too. I don't know how long a guy can sing like this for. Yeah, I don't know. Can I still do this when I'm 50? I don't know.
Well, I hope that you continue to do it. I mean, I think you need to get everybody back to Toronto and definitely record some more stuff. That'd be awesome.
Oh, we'd love to. It's just, writing now is most difficult thing for us. It's a slow process, and it always has been, even when we were younger. But it'll come around. Something will spark us, and we'll have a big flurry of creativity, and I'm sure it'll happen.
Awesome. I can't wait, dude. Dude, thanks so much for your time, Rob.
Hey,
awesome.
Thank you very much.
Explore Music wears English Laundry apparel.